When Matt first joined us,
Not this.
he used to come up with some sayings, right? And I called them Yassinisms. And then when it got to I think it's Christmas 2019, we thought for the party what we'd do is we'd print some off and we'd put them around the room so everyone can have a laugh at the Yassinisms.
I can't believe you still got that document.
It took me a while to find it, but here, Matt, this is only a list of 14 of them which were around at Christmas party. Michael, I'll pass yours over now. And can't even get it.
Marcus, if we just go back to the beginning, obviously you're a recruiter now. How did you get into the world of recruitment, and how did NRG come into being?
So fell into the world of recruitment. No one picks to be that. Like financial services, I don't think anyone dreams of it when they're a child. But I was a commercial broker before 2006, 2007, great time. 2008, not so much. So the market fell apart. I realised I wasn't in financial services. I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. Didn't know what a funding line was, etc. until the crash happened. Was really enjoying the fairly easy ride I was having. I've never worked for a recruitment company, so I came out of it with lots of friends that needed work because obviously, the market had fallen apart, and I realised you could get paid for that. Is the honest answer as to how I fell into it. But then I fell in love with it as well. I love the people side of it, and the financial services was my bag. So the two just fitted really well together. But how I got in was, because of the crash, like all good businesses, because of the good economic crash.
and presumably, when you got into it, how did it go? How did it start? Were you presumably working for someone else?
Yes, I joined a small business, but they didn't really have any structure, no process. It was one girl that kind of showed me how to do it, and then I just set it up myself. So I've never actually worked for a recruitment company as such, but I do think that puts me in better stead. I think because if you look at some of the practices, some of the way it's been done over the past, I think we're much more financial services esque, if you like, rather than recruitment esque, which can be, it's got a bad name. We spend a long time trying to kind of make the industry better than it was. And I think that comes from my financial services background, where you should do things the right way, as opposed to my recruitment background, which I don't have.
What would you say that sets you apart from other recruiters, though? I mean, just to touch on it a bit more.
Yeah, I think the technical knowledge is really important. I think we do things a little bit differently. Like, we're not 360 for those outside of recruitment. That means I don't just go out, do my BD, try and find the candidates. Like, we separate everything. I believe there's a skill set that everyone has, and it's very much two different skill sets. So we've separated that as a business. But as far as standing out, I think it's the technical knowledge, and we really care. Like, it's easy to say that, but if you know people that know us, we're passionate about it, we do the right thing. And again, I think that's financial services-esque as opposed to recruitment. It's just doing the right thing by people. Like, for instance, there's practices that we don't do that is recruitment kind of standard.
Like, how do you guys, just going back to the sort of creativity bit, right? Which is, you're able to, how do you come up with, how often do you post?
Every day.
But once a day or?
Once a day. I've done a couple of, I feel a bit dirty doing 2 a day. But...
Does the algorithm like 2 a day?
No.
It
doesn't, which is funny, because I post when I think of something.
Yeah, same.
So I do, I know people are really good at scheduling, which you probably should do to hit the algorithm.
Yeah.
But if I think about something at 3:00 in the afternoon, the way my mind works, that's gone by tomorrow. So just get it on, get it down. And if 3 people see it, but one guy goes, God, you're right.
Yeah.
I think that makes a difference. Whereas normally, if you're systematically doing it all the time, I would end up, I think if I didn't do it as I saw it, I'd end up being a bit robotic.
So
what time do you post?
Before the gym every day.
So never.
I go gym. I go gym every day about 6. So I'll post just before I go to the gym. I take pictures every day of things. I don't think people should be taking loads of selfies on there. I just don't. I think it's been quite dominated, that space.
I'm awful at the picture thing.
Yeah,
I should do more.
Take a picture of the set in the background, walking down a nice road, crappy pair of trainers, whatever, like that. And I can go back through my phone. I say, okay, that will give me an idea. And my brain works in puns. So I kind of always have to have some relation to the image to what I'm trying to say. And it's always going to be
very tenuous sometimes, very tenuous.
Very tenuous, but you get there. And it's the same, mine is the same format every single time. So it's a little bit of narrative, maybe a joke, tagline, and then some other little joke at the end to kind of lighten the mood.
I do think, sorry to jump in, I do think that's important though with yours, because you give a factual bit of information about the business or about where people are going, but you make a joke out of it. But that's you. Yeah. You're a serious businessman, but you don't take yourself seriously. And I think that comes across in your social media.
And I appreciate that, man. I think for me, it's what I'm really, God, I sound like evangelical, but I want people to know that you can be funny and have a laugh, but still be professional. And I think sometimes certain people will think, oh, he's having a laugh, that's not professional. Like, I've got 3 talks this week with 3 different lenders doing CPD and training. Like, my training on that is not the archetypal talking at someone. It's engaging, it's funny, there's jokes inside. Doesn't mean I'm not professional. It just means I want to engage with my audience. And I think a lot of people, if you can learn how to engage at early doors, you'll absolutely fly on LinkedIn. And it's free. I cannot fathom why people don't use it. It's
unless you're in recruitment and you're paying tens of thousands of pounds, but you stick to your free.
Is that how much it is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Do you think that? Would you say that you're introverted, and how do you feel like and if you are, how do you feel like you've addressed that? And not necessarily in an absolute way, but how you sort of, if you just talk about your journey in terms of how you've got more comfortable with being more extroverted.
I don't know. I flip and flap between what I think I am, and what I think I am. It probably depends on different things. Depends on the day. It's not. I'm not 100% sure. How introverted I really am, but I think it comes across. It's certainly easier to come across that way sometimes, and to project that sort of energy in everyone. Yeah, it's obviously a continuum. So you sit somewhere in between the two, and it's creating the right, moment, which the moment needs. So if you need to be, more open and more positive, then you need to learn how to turn that on. It might be tiring, but then that's what weekends are for, I guess. But not sure, if I'm honest, how introverted really I am. But Adam can't make his mind up either.
I think you build a picture of what you want people to think you are. I think you're very different deep down inside. So maybe that's because I worked with you for 6 years.
What do you think? What do you think is exciting in terms of where the company's headed in terms of direction from your perspective?
Yeah, so I guess this is kind of the first time that we're really involved in the leadership team. So sitting on that side of the fence is quite exciting. I think, as Ed touched on, we've made some small changes and we've had some good results on the back of that. We discussed in the workshop around, sort of phase 1 to some degree has been completed. Now it's phase 2, and we've got, a clear action plan that we're looking to deliver. And if we were able to increase our lending volumes on the back of some of those small changes we made, we've got big ambitions for what's to come, and having that clear vision of where we want to get to, how we're going to do that. It's really exciting to think, just having a record quarter on the back of sort of going around in circles here.
No, keep going.
I'll do the 3-second pause.
We're not cutting any of this out, just so you know.
Okay. All my mates will be having a go at this point. Yeah.
Davina's laughing.
But yeah, I think it's really exciting. I think we've got a lot more focus on where do we want to be and what are we actually going to do to get there. Before, it was all well and good to see sort of big targets at the end of the year, but we're building in new processes, looking at things week by week with sort of 5-5-5 and other things that we focus on, and really building that momentum, on a week by week basis, and seeing that translate into numbers at the back end has been really exciting.
And Adam, certainly last but not least, Director of Sales and Marketing, obviously sort of does what it says on the tin, but if you want to just give people a little bit of background as to what your day-to-day involves, and then kind of what are the things that you're excited about and looking forward to in the coming months.
Yeah, I guess that's probably one of the things I noticed moving into this role was you still have to do the doing, still getting out there and making sure we're building the brand, meeting people, but kind of managing, shaping the sales and marketing team. We've got a relatively newish team. I think looking to grow that over the coming months, I think is a really important part. in terms of the brand awareness. We talked a little bit about the platform and things like that as well. I think it's going to be massive for us at the front end, sort of not replacing what we do in the sales team, but adding to, making us more efficient, being able to actually find solutions and get out there and speak to more people rather than, as Ed touched on, a bit more less administrative, focusing on that really. So yeah, excited about the growth of the team. As I say, I think that's something I really enjoyed in my time of management at Avamore. Is we generally have a young team promote from within, which I think is really exciting, to be honest with you, to see them sort of join, add to the team, and then sort of really flourish.
Yeah, that's nice. And just in terms of your, you've all kind of come from the ground up, from the trenches, as it were. Both yourself, Ed and Harry, you've joined us as graduates. Adam, you joined us not so much as a grad, but certainly much earlier in your career. How since you joined Avamore, how have you progressed from being kind of one of the troops to now a leader of people, and in your case, Adam, even becoming a director?
Yeah, I think the grey hair gives me away that I didn't join as a grad, to be fair, a little bit older than these two. But yeah, I think I've seen it from both sides. I started as a broker, saw what good looks like from a lending perspective, and then obviously worked for a couple of different lenders. I think the exciting point of why I joined Avamore 5.5 years ago was the growth opportunities. I think when I joined there was probably 12 of us in the whole firm. We're now up to 30, looking to add to that as well. So I think that was the real opportunities, and actually look, the people, a lot of tools and things that I use now as a manager, I picked up along the way, to be fair. The 4 directors of the business, yourself being one of those, when I joined, actually a lot of that we learned. Very different team now in the sales team compared to what it was a few years ago. As I say, a different makeup, a different model, a different way of working as well. I think that's one thing that actually the platform's enabled us to change a little bit and be more efficient in a sales team. We've got the support of obviously Harry's team initially in TNS, and then obviously underwriting as well. So I think that's kind of the progression of it, really, to be honest with you, in my role.
I can tell you that when we started in 2015, I don't think we had a very clear idea in our minds as what our end consumer was, if truth be told. So we probably, I think, shall we say, the market found us rather than our market found us rather than we found our market. Mm-hmm. But I think in a lot of ways, like all three of us, we're products of timing, if nothing else. That we kind of got into the industry, I think, just as it was sort of starting to go up the hockey stick. And there's a sort of slightly Goldilocks component to when we got into it. Were there any individuals that when you met them for the first time, when they started the businesses, you felt like either these guys are going to make it or these guys have got no chance? And how often were you proved right, and how often were you pleasantly surprised?
Look, I think that's a really good point, because I think actually now reflecting on the people that have gone on to do well or not to do so well, I think there is a common theme with them, and I think it falls under founder syndrome maybe. Mm-hmm. So, you start a business, the be all and end all, I know everything, right? I know our target customer, I know our credit appetite, I know how we're going to work. So they hire a load of good people, but then they don't devolve that responsibility or that accountability or that decision making to the experts in their field. So you almost create this kind of cottageness within a business where the founder believes it is one way. Everybody has to toe that line, despite maybe different views or different experiences, and mostly that didn't go well in my experience. And then you'll tend to find, I think, that those that went to market brought in good people because they wanted to listen to counterpoints, they wanted to be challenged, they wanted to utilize that expertise. They all seem to have flown and done really, really well. So I think as a maybe, like a common thing, I would say that is something that seems obvious to me now in the market. The ones that embraced expertise seem to be doing really well. The ones that didn't, well, they ain't here anymore.
Yeah. Do you think though that embracing of expertise is some of that? Is that some of that? You have to kiss a lot of frogs though to find the right people, because like the talent pool is shallow, mm-hmm. and lots of people, and we've seen it. We've had, we've brought people in at relatively senior levels, and we've seen it that someone can have a good name, but they might just have very, very good press, or just their perception of them is really good, but actually and not really referring to anyone in particular, but like, you know, but there's always that risk that people have these lofty reputations, but actually don't necessarily deliver. So, and that's one thing I find difficult to reconcile, is that do some of these guys have to these businesses have to kiss a lot of frogs to finally settle on a sort of management team that actually can take them forwards?
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes I think that's the natural progression of most businesses, isn't it? I think if you're trying to bring people in, you know, they might understand credit and they might understand how to originate or whatever it is, the role that they're doing. But, you know, often you have to learn how to do that within the environment and with the other people that you're working. So the culture piece is important, because if you think again back to, I mean, even before 2014, if we go back to the recession, we saw all of the bankers, or a lot of the bankers, coming into this sector. And, you know, nowadays, how many clients would you speak to and say, will you take someone from a tier one bank? Mm-hmm. And they'll say, absolutely not. They're institutionalized. They don't know a thing about specialist lending, etc. And look, that's fine. But over the years, these bankers have experienced specialist lending, and they have understood how we operate and how that is different to banking. And I think even those in iteration 1 or iteration 2 that may have got their hires wrong, you know, if they are still those principled CEOs or managers that say, look, I need the expertise around me, eventually they'll get it right. Yeah. And I think what's kind of grown over time is this pool of people within specialists that may have come from banking that are no longer institutionalized, because they've probably got a couple of scars and learnt along the way, and maybe fit in better with the culture of our market now.
This podcast is sponsored by Avamore Capital. Avamore Capital is a development and bridging lender based in London, but lending all over England and Wales, lending on projects from £250,000 all the way up to £25 million on bridging, development, refurb and part complete developments. Please visit www.avamorecapital.com to find out more. Arc & Co continuing to plough on with great success. You've relocated the offices. You've got the partnership with London Belgravia, LBB. What have I missed?
Nothing, but I just want to take a pause there, because I'll come back to where we're going with Arc & Co in a minute, and I want to talk a bit about me and Matt.
Okay, go on.
Good idea. Make it a bit lighter.
Go on, let's go.
What I did is I printed something off. So
let's go.
When Matt first joined us,
not this.
He used to come up with some sayings, right? And I called them Yassinisms. And then when it got to I think it's Christmas 2019, we thought for the party what we'd do is we'd print some off and we'd put them around the room so everyone can have a laugh at the Yassinisms.
I can't believe you still got that document.
It took me a while to find it, but here, Matt, this is only a list of 14 of them which were around at Christmas party. Michael, I'll pass yours over now. And can't even get it. So what we got here is the Yassinisms quote book, and there's 14 of them. It starts with the first one I ever heard. So when Matt joined us, he's a very experienced broker, and he came in to strengthen up the advisory side. And literally his first day, and it says, and he goes, bloody hell, this inbox is filling up faster than a glass of water. And I looked at him and thought, here we go. And then he keeps on going on. But we can read some of them out now, and I do want to know what he means by them. But, someone's here, number 10, shy boys get no sweets. And the whole office, there's 20 people in Arc & Co looking around and say, who's this guy? He's just turned up, and shy boys have got no sweets.
Is that right, Davina?
Yeah.
I can't believe you got these still.
And he says, well, I thought it would lighten up the mood a bit. He says,
14, brilliant.
Yeah, exactly, 14. He's probably talking to a lender. He says, don't pack the tent away too early, just in case. And, wait there, what else? Matt, you must have some favourites on there.
To put some context on this, Michael, so I like to lighten things up when I'm talking to both clients and lenders, and in my own spare time I do write a bit of poetry, so it's kind of bringing in a bit of poetic justice into the finance world.
Yeah, number 3, if the cows need feeding, well,
give them some grass.
There is one here. Oh yeah, if you are hungry and you've got something in front of you, eat it very, very quickly.
That's an offer from Avamore, very good offer from Avamore. That I said to a client, look, don't count too many chickens, otherwise they're all gone. So
some of these, I think some of these have the look of Polish sayings that maybe didn't translate brilliantly.
Yes. Yeah, and we both know what they are. Yeah, Andrew and I go back a long way, and I'm glad you got those actually.
This is brilliant.
It was
Thank
good.
you.
We had a bit of a laugh in the Arc & Co office because I was asking around trying to find this document. And when we pulled it up over the last few days, a few of the guys, Gareth and that, I couldn't believe we've been rehearsing them all week.
Have you?
And I was this morning, I was looking at them and they were just making me laugh so much. But I think you could kind of picture it. You got an office of 20 people. New person turned up. He's quite well known in the market, and he starts with these sayings, and everyone's just like, "What is going on here?" So I just absolutely loved it, and the Yassanisms will live on forever in the Arc & Co. Yeah.
Well, on that bombshell, I'm going to leave that dog to sleep.
Very well said, Michael.
Changing gears slightly, James, you were talking a good game about the commercial property market. A lot of demand from investors going into that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've always been quite buoyant on the office market, even though it's been doomsday, as they've been saying for the last few years. And yeah, obviously valuations have collapsed throughout, but I believe we hit the bottom a little while back, and it's now showing in central London. In city, you can't get space. West End, space is like £100 a foot, 120 a foot for not even the greatest spec of offices.
I think you're getting like 250 a foot in like.
That's what I'm on about. I'm on about like real, like just dark, dingy room, sort of like you don't want to spend any money on it, sort of space. So and then all that will happen is that just feeds out, just as it did before.
Yeah.
Like people still, every business now is like, no, we need an office. We can't operate without one. We need people together. It drives collaboration. It drives growth.
Shareholders aren't getting paid what they used to, so you better get back to the office. That's the big driver, isn't it? That's where that's.
Well, everyone's looking at their bottom line and thinking, I'll tell you what, we used to work really well was when we all worked together and we could get shit done.
And and also as well, like, I don't know if you've ever, how much time I'm very rarely do working from home unless I'm dictated to that I need to be at home for something, in which case I'm definitely at home. But if you've ever done
wise
it,
choice.
well, yeah, definitely wise choice. My dad got through 4 divorces, and I'm not going to copy that. So
How many? 4?
4, unbelievable, wasn't it? I wouldn't need to be doing stuff like this if you were stuck with one.
Surely after the third time, you've got to call it a day.
I'm surprised I'm going around again, to be honest. So
Maybe just like a wedding cake.
Yeah.
I think that.
That's an expensive life.
That's a very expensive wedding cake.
Yeah.
loves a stag do.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But if you're ever working from home and you nip down to the shops, or I've done it and gone to the gym near home, it's packed. And that wouldn't have been the case during the week. You think of like your Virgin Actives, your David Lloyd's. I mean, you've got lots of people now that will work from there as well. Sort of the one-man bands, rather than having a Ned membership and coming into town, they'll pay for David Lloyd and do it that way. But you're looking at it, and the one time I went, in the middle of the week, and everywhere's packed out. And you think, well, this can't be good for productivity. And then as time has passed, all the things that you've talked about, where people are getting driven back into the office,
It's thinning out.
Yeah, it's thinning out. Like, just because that's where the demand is. It's what the businesses require. It's what the economy needs. So,
I've always, I love this quote. It's from Zig Ziglar, and honestly, it's the one thing I'll say it time and time again. So if you've heard me say it before, dear listener or dear viewer, I apologize, but you can have everything you want in life if you just help enough other people get what they want. And I think that's the mantra that certainly that's a mantra sort of I go by. And I think, directly or indirectly, Zaher and other senior leadership of the business work on that basis as well. It's like we're always trying to add value. The one thing that we've always done is we've cared.
Yeah.
If a deal, you see it even now, right? You think 10 years on, you'd think if a deal doesn't go ahead or a deal falls apart, I might be a bit more relaxed about it. But every deal matters to me. If there's a deal that we can't do or a deal dies, we still get really upset about it. We hate letting brokers down. And I think that for as long as we put brokers and clients first, then we're, and also making sure that we manage loans well and look after our funders, and we treat our funders' money as if it were our own, which we've, for a lot of the time, the loans were our own. So that mantra has always really been in the business, but as long as we don't lose sight of those things, we'll always progress in the right direction. We've seen, we've seen a lot of new entrants come into the market every year, every 18 months. There's always a new bridge lender sets up, or there's always a new development lender sets up, and they often don't make it past 3 or 4 years because they burn too bright at the beginning, and then they overpromise and then they don't deliver. Whether that's on to their funders, the loan performance isn't good enough, or that's generally the case, but generally speaking, it's like they lend too much too quickly and then they fizzle out.
Of course.
So we just be consistent, and just remember that we have to remember as well that we sell financial services, yes, but really we're selling trust.
Yeah.
And so as long as people have a high degree of trust with us, we'll always keep progressing in a positive way.
Absolutely. I think just quite recently we had some internal meetings. They were like back to basics, and they were actually from the managing directors. And I think the one point that I picked up on with Avamore is partnerships. I think the business is built heavily on partnerships, whether that's with our funders or with our brokers. It all comes back to that. And of course, the deals that come back and the repeat borrowers, I think that's just proof.
Yeah. And I think that also extends to service providers as well. You think about, I know you've met some of the lawyers that we work with and some of the other professional service providers. We've had our greatest periods of success when we've had the strongest relationships with service providers as well. And like you said, the point you make about partnerships is absolutely key. If you want to, as Zaher likes to say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that speaks very much to the principle of partnerships, which is that, as long as we're working with other people collaboratively, generally really good things come from that.